everyone, in this Tidbitz In Time video today I am going to be doing some Grungeboard demonstrations. Just in case you don't know what Grungeboard is, it is a flexible sheet of, I guess it has similar properties to chipboard. It's thicker, but it is flexible. So I bought this in 6x12 sheets. It comes from Ranger, and you can also buy it from Ranger that's pre-cut into different shapes, but this one is just a sheet of paper. 6x12 again is the size. So to get started, I have a few different techniques I want to demonstrate. The first I'll show you this example scrapbook page that I made using different Grungeboard techniques. A lot of the flowers and butterflies you see on this page were all done using Grungeboard, and then I just distressed them and did different creations with them. So to get started, you can cut apart your Grungeboard in lots of different ways. I use my Sizzix to cut different shapes out. You can also use your Cricut, or you can simply trace a shape you want on the Grungeboard and hand cut it. So I have some shapes I cut out here with my Sizzix. And the first technique I want to show you is covering a shape with paper and then doing some distressing to it. So to get started with that one, you'll take your shape that I cut out with my Sizzix, but whatever shape you have, and then you also want to cut out a piece of paper that is the same size, and you'll cover this and you'll glue it on to it. Okay, so after you have your paper glued to your Grungeboard, so paper on one side and Grungeboard on the other, then this is where it gets kind of fun. This is where I like to do lots of different things with this. So the very first thing I usually do is distress the edges. So I'm going to take an ink pad. I use a brown, it's called Jumbo Java, and I'm just going to distress the edges of this paper. And that's all we'll do with this one. I'll just distress it. And then what you can do, and this is why I like the Grungeboard, because you can take your flower and you can roll the edges and it actually keeps the shape. So, and you can see your paper will peel off, and that's okay. You can either just put a dab of glue between here, or you can just leave it coming apart like that. So you can go along, and what I do is I pinch it in my thumb, between my thumb and my finger, and then roll it up. And then you can kind of move it back, and you can see it holds that shape. So you have rolled edges on your flowers, which adds a lot more dimension to your cards and scrapbook pages. So you can go all along your whole flower and do that, and sometimes it is a good idea to put some glue in there, but again, you don't have to. Okay, and now you can see that after we added the paper, glued it to the Grungeboard, and rolled up the edges, then I layered it. I had a smaller flower that I did the same thing with, and then I added the centerpiece. And so we went from a really basic plain piece of chipboard, or I'm sorry, piece of Grungeboard, into a pretty cool looking flower. Very simple to do, but the end result turns out pretty neat. And here's a different one we made that's purple. So again, we just cut it out with our Sizzix, paper and the Grungeboard, and then rolled up the edges and glued the paper to the Grungeboard, and then rolled up the edges to make these flowers. Now, another technique I like to use on Grungeboard is to paint it. It dries pretty fast on the Grungeboard, and the paint just works well. So to paint it, we'll paint this leaf here, and I have some paint. Okay, and after I added the brown, I'm going to dry this with the heat gun, and that does not hurt the Grungeboard at all. So we'll just dry that up quick. Now after that's dry, I'm going to add some other colors to it. So I have a lighter brown here I'm going to do on the edges. So now you can see that we took our grungeboard shape, we added brown, and then a lighter brown, and then I sprayed it with glimmer mist. So, and heated it up 3 times, and it still kept its shape and will look great on one of your projects. The last technique I want to show you, we're going to ink this leaf that I have that's cut out, and then we're going to stamp on it. So the first thing you want to do is pick out a color of ink and ink your leaf. Okay, so I picked out an orange color and I just put it all over the leaf. So now I haven't, it looks out more brown on the leaf, but I have colored the leaf from the original grungeboard color to the orange color. And now what I'm going to do is I have a stamp. Here it's a stamp with some writing on it, and I'm going to stamp right on that leaf. So take your stamp pad, and just stamp right over top of it. Then you can see I added the writing to this leaf. And now what I would do if I were going to use this leaf on a page, I would take the edges and curl them up a little bit, as we did before on the flower. So, you know, kind of roll those edges up. And then there you can see we have our leaf finished. So now you could layer that with your branch that we made before and put it on a card or a scrapbook page, whatever would work for you. So there are, we just did 3 different techniques with Grungeboard. So thank you for watching, and check the tidbitsintime.com website for more videos. Thank you.